Good morning and welcome back to the farm. I have a little bit of a fun project today, so I thought I'd whack the camera on and take you along for the ride because I've had lots and lots of questions over the time that I've been sharing the leather goods that I make. I've had loads of questions about the journals. So because today I am moving from my beautiful, oh my God, I love this journal so much. I'm moving from this into, are you ready? Da, 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 da! My brand new offering. I'm moving from this into this because I can't get this leather anymore, which makes me really sad. However, it does mean that I've been able to embrace this leather, which is just gorgeous. I'm calling this caramel, this colour, because it just makes me think of caramel with a hint of toffee, perhaps. I love it. I absolutely love it. So whilst I'm really sad that I can no longer source this beautiful leather, I'm not that sad actually, because, you know. Also, what I've noticed at the shows is that I take this one along, so when somebody picks up one of my journals, they come quite matte. And as you use it, the oils from your hands make it become this beautifully patinaed, beautiful, has a life of its own leather. And I want to see what happens to this colourway as it gets used. I want to see that patina, but on this. Also, you may notice there's a pretty little engraving of my little fern leaf on the corner. I've made the somewhat bold decision to no longer offer plain leather journals for sale, because you can buy these anywhere. However, this is a Hedgecomber special. You can't get this anywhere else. This is my design. I make the journal cover and then I obviously engrave it on with the laser, and I'm just really proud of it and I love it so much. So although I'm sad, I'm not that sad, let's be honest. Also, one other change is I'm no longer putting the bead on the elastic because I actually find I don't like how it looks once it's got the fern on here. It's almost too busy. And it's not difficult to like pick the elastic up to open it. So that's another decision that I made. But today I'm going to move everything out of here into here. So I thought I'd talk you through what I actually carry around with me and what I'm actually going to take out of this and not carry with me anymore. And I'm going to explain all that as we go. Also, I'm not getting rid of this journal cover, obviously. What I am going to do is I'm going to have this for more personal and spiritual work. So I use a gratitude journal. I do shadow work journaling, which is a very deep practice where you kind of dive into your own traumas and you kind of allow yourself, you give yourself permission to sink into the darkness that's within all of us. It's kind of socially expected to plaster on smiles and be positive, but we all carry pain and we all carry trauma, and shadow work is something that's helped get me through some really dark times. So I'm thinking that this is going to become my homebound. Nobody will ever have access to this. This is going to be my personal space to let out all the things that keep my soul sane, safe, and help me process things so that I can move forward with positivity and happiness. Trying to ignore those dark things inside of you, in my experience, doesn't actually help. It kind of just puts off the inevitable that one day you're going to have to face up to them. So may as well just get it over and done with. Anyway, that's possibly a talk for another day. If anybody has any questions about shadow journaling or gratitude journals, let me know. I'm not an expert. I guess I'm just an expert in my way of using them and how they've helped me. So this beauty will not be going to waste. This is going to kind of move up the ranks to become a very important part of my spiritual growth. But for now, let's go back to this little caramel baby. So if you were to order an A5 leather journal, this is how it's going to come through the post. So you just take off that elastic band and then you'll see that inside along the spine is this piece of elastic, and it's this elastic that you kind of thread your notebook through. Now you can use stapled notebooks or you can use sewn notebooks, but one moment please, but you wouldn't want to use like a hardback notebook, like a bound notebook. This is just craft paper backed notebook. So I guess first of all, let me show you what we've got going on in here, and then we can move some of it over. So inside my book, I have 3 notebooks. I don't know how to show you this. I think I'll just show you in the new one how I've actually put it together. Just trust me that at the moment in here is 3 notebooks. So let me just rip it all out. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. I also tie this ribbon onto the centre elastic. This just acts as my page markers. And I also apparently thought it was a good idea to put this bulldog clip on the front cover of my journal. I don't recommend you do this. Let me show you why. Once you take it off, you are like, that's probably never going to come out. I don't mind because I made this and that's just part of its story with me. I probably wouldn't recommend anyone else does it. So the reason that I carried this on the front cover with the bulldog clip is that I use this as my daily to-do. So it's on the inside of that front cover and I can just flip to it and know what I've got to do today. Today, I have one priority, just the one. And look, I'm such a good girl, I'm actually doing it. I've only had 1 coffee so far too. Another 2 things that are kind of optional, you don't have to do this at all, but these are, in the planner community, these are called dashboards, or they're kind of, like if you had an A4 folder with dividers in, you could kind of think of these as dividers. So these are more permanent than the notebooks that you kind of just scribble through and then swap it out for a new notebook. This stays in the journal for me. I've had this for years. I think by the looks of things, I actually made it out of brown craft wrapping paper that I've laminated. So it's really, really thin and flexible. So it doesn't take up any weight. But it means that I can stick my pen loop onto this and this doesn't change. As I swap out the notebooks, as I use them, this stays. So this pen loop stays stuck on there. I also have this little, I think this blue thing was a greeting card that I've just stuck in with washi tape to make a little pocket, and I've got stickers and post-it notes on there, so it's just a place to store things for me really. And then this one, I've made another pocket. This is a card I was given at a workshop at a festival. I think it's out of a deck of like oracle cards or something. Again, I've just washi taped it on to make this pocket, and then I've just popped a couple of feathers that I found in there. And then inside is a quote on a post-it note that I didn't want to forget. This quote is really, really important to me. Little side note, I was born in 1973 and I grew up under Maggie Thatcher's reign, and success most of my life has meant one thing to me. But as I've gone through perimenopause and as I've gone through my healing journey, I've realised that money does not equate success for me. And I think that's a really important distinction. It has been in my life anyway. And success is nothing more than a positive life experience. And if we base success on that quote, I am one of the most successful people that has ever walked the face of this earth. And then inside I carry currently 3 notebooks. Now this one, let's start with this one. This is the one that's at the back of the notebook, and this, I've been doing a lot of decluttering recently, and when I'm like clearing out a cupboard or a box or a room or whatever, I generally stick YouTube on and I have minimalist or decluttering videos playing because I just find that they kind of keep me on track when it gets hard or when I get bored. Just hearing other people decluttering as well, I find it really soothing. YouTube's great, isn't it? But one of the things I've learned from watching or listening to these YouTube videos about decluttering and minimalism is the idea of the things that we buy for our fantasy selves. Now, one of the analogies I was given in a video was that, okay, say that you want to make sourdough bread. So you go out and you buy all the things that you need to make sourdough bread, and then you put them in a cupboard and you're going to make sourdough bread. And then every time you open that cupboard, you feel like a complete failure because you've never actually made a loaf of bread. And especially when we've invested money in something, it's really, really hard for us to say, well, that was actually a mistake. Let's just move that on and give that away or sell that and let somebody else be the kind of person that's going to make bread, because my real self isn't that person. I bought all of that stuff for my fantasy self. So literally 1/3 of the journal that I've carried around for over 2 years now has been for my fantasy self. And this is just, it's just a sketchbook. And I bought it because, and actually I think I've done something on 2 pages. So that's 1 page, and those are just product ideas that I had. That was that, and then there's another one somewhere. Oh, here we are. There's some herbal sketching that I did. And in that whole book, that's all I've ever done. I like to think I'm the kind of person that would sit in a cafe and, you know, get my watercolours out and do some pen and ink and some street scenes. And I'm not that person. That person is a total fantasy. I might be that person one day, but right now I'm not. You stick me in a cafe on my own with a nice big cup of coffee, I'm going to pull out Kindle and read about zombies. I am not this person. This person is a total fantasy. And the fact that I've carried this around for 2 years is utterly ridiculous. So I'm not getting rid of this. I'm going to put this with my art supplies because I do have watercolours and I do have ink and I do like doing those things, but I don't do them enough to warrant carrying this around. So gone. Which leaves me with 2 books. Out of interest, I might add in a 3rd book in time. I'm thinking that it might be useful to have like a project management book at the back of my journal. So each like business related project, tiny or large, it doesn't matter. It would just give me a place to step by step cross things off, get that little dopamine hit, but also just to keep me on track. But honestly, I just kind of want to carry around 2 books for the minute, and I might add that in. I might not. Right, moving on to these. This one is what currently comes with the journals when you buy this, but watch this space because I'm hoping to upgrade this. At the moment, it's just a craft book that I get from Amazon. It's got dot grid inside and I've lasered on my little Fern and also hedgecombers.com on the back. This is where I do my weekly and monthly planning. So inside I just draw out these calendars. So I think I usually do about 6 months worth of calendars, and then behind the calendars is where my weekly starts. And this isn't done perfectly, that's not my style. I use 1 pen and I'll show you that one in a bit actually. I just hand draw these lines. It's really, really quick. I mark down the day and the date. In this first column, this is where I put things that I have to do on that date. So appointments, if I need the doctors, whatever, that goes on this column. This column is other things that are important to me that I would like to get done on that day, but it's not like if an emergency comes up, these things can move. These things will need to be cancelled or postponed. And then on this side, I just draw 4 boxes, and this changes every single week how I use this. My brain is quite scattered. I've got probable inattentive ADHD, and this needs to be kept loose and fluid because every week I am a totally different person with totally different interests apparently. So I need this to stay really, really flexible, and it's just really, really simple. I tend to draw 1 month of these at a time. If I needed to scribble stuff on the pages in between, then I have that option. That's my kind of planner, my diary, if you like. And then I also have this notebook, which is from Lockbee, which is a really nice paper. I really like this. I'm not going to show you inside this one because this is where I take notes if I'm on a Zoom call or if I'm in a meeting. This is where those notes will go. This is where I scribble down ideas for videos or for products. This is everything that's related to the business, or I know it's all pretty much business stuff in here, I think. So if I ever think, oh, I spoke to so-and-so a few months ago, what did we talk about? Or what was the deadline or whatever? It will be in here. This is where all that information goes. So those are the only 2 books that I really want to keep with me at the moment. So this is the one with the diary in. I'm going to pop this dashboard around that. And then the second book, I'm going to pop the other dashboard around that. And then I think I need to move this camera. Come with me, my friends. Okay, remember I mentioned this elastic first of all. So if you're just carrying 1 book, you just slot the spine of that book in there and the book opens like that. This will be the centre of your notebook. If you want to do 3, like I did, if you want to carry 3 notebooks, you put that centre one in. So you've got your notebook there. And each journal comes with a spare elastic, and then you just put that elastic over that centre book, which gives you 2 more elastics for 2 more books. But because I'm only using 2 books, what I'm going to do instead is put my elastic down the centre spine of this book and dashboard, like that. And then the one that I want at the back, I'm going to pull it open to the middle, and then I'm going to thread that through the other side of the elastic, like that. So now we've got the two notebooks with the dashboards on each of them, and they're joined down the centre spine with elastic. And then I'm simply going to thread book one through, and that is then going to be held by that spine elastic in the journal. Oh, I've done it upside down. Do talk amongst yourselves, friends. And there we are. I am all moved in to my new journal. I love it. So now when you open your journal up, I've got the front of my dashboard. I've got my first book with the elastic down the spine. This is the front of my second dashboard. Inside that is my second notebook. And then right at the back is the back of the second dashboard. All held in place, nice and safe. I need to go and find a new ribbon that I'm going to tie on the top of my elastic, because that then will mark this week's page that I'm currently working on. And I think that's it. The only other thing I wanted to mention was the pen that I use. I use the Pilot Friction pen, which I'm sure all of the younger viewers out there know all about these pens. But if you're an oldie like me, you might not. And this pen has changed my life. So for years I have been a planner, but I always use a pencil because I can't stand when you go and write something in a pen and then it changes, the appointment moves, you have to scribble it out or Tipp-Ex it out. I can't stand that. But these pens, and they come in some beautiful colours, including the most gorgeous purple, but I stick to black. So you can scribble, and then on the bottom of the pen is this piece of like hard rubber. It's not like an eraser, like a normal rubber on a pencil. It's just like a hard rubber. But look, this ink that's like not going anywhere, you can then scrub it out. And I believe it's the heat of the friction of rubbing it. This thing doesn't like wear down like a normal eraser does either. So if an appointment changes, you can just scrub the damn thing out. It's amazing. One side note, I was sat in here having my breakfast one day. I'd made scrambled eggs and I eat them out of a pan because I'm really lazy and I hate washing up. So I'm sat here at my desk eating scrambled eggs out of the frying pan. And I obviously don't want to melt my table. So I put one of my notebooks, another notebook where I use this friction pen. I used that as like a trivet, as a placemat, and I put the pan on top of that. When I picked the pan up, all the writing had gone. So I also think when you've used up a notebook, if you keep notebooks, that's fine. I don't. I bin them as soon as they're done. But in theory, you could probably iron the pages of your notebook and then just keep using the same notebook over and over and over again. It's like the most economical way of doing things. I love it. Also, you can buy refills for these pens, so you don't have to keep buying new pen every time, which from the environmental aspect of that, I think is just marvellous. Right, I now need to go and photograph this journal, and I need to go and update the website because currently it's still got the old colour leather and the fact that there's no engraving on the front. So I need to go and update that. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, that will all be updated on the website. If you've got any questions about any of this, if I haven't explained it very well, please ask down below and I will try and clarify it in the comments, or if there's loads of questions, I might do another video on this. I have no idea how much interest this is going to be to people, but I just wanted a video that I could point folk at to show how I use it. Obviously, there's a million ways of using these things. You could certainly have a little check on YouTube. The whole planner community over here is huge and you will find some brilliant ideas. I keep my journal very, very simple. I just use one colour pen. I don't use stickers and fancy pens, and I can't be doing with all of that. I'm very, very practical when it comes to journaling, but if that's not your style, that's absolutely fine. There's a whole massive planner community out there, and there are some beautiful, beautiful journaling channels on YouTube, so definitely go and spend some time geeking out on those. Right, lovelies, I think that's all I wanted to cover. I hope this video was coherent and useful, and I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.